Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender. So here is my overdue video, I would say, about why Monica Barbaro got that surprise Oscar nomination in Best Supporting Actress. 2 years ago, I made a video about how Andrea Riseborough got into Best Actress for To Leslie without a single major precursor nomination. Last year, I did one about how America Ferrera got into Best Supporting Actress with only that Critics' Choice nomination. And now, here we have Monica Barbaro, who got into Supporting Actress at the Oscars with only that SAG nomination. Nothing at BAFTA, nothing at Critics' Choice or Golden Globes. Some people thought Monica Barbaro could do it. I actually was predicting her early on when I made a video with Nick Rurkraut. Like I said, Monica Barbaro, I think, has a pretty good chance of breaking in. And then there was the Jamie Lee Curtis of it all. And we're going to talk about it. In my very final Oscar nominations predictions video, I predicted 19 out of the 20. Like, I got Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. But supporting actress, at the end of the day, I did go with Jamie Lee Curtis over Monica Barbaro. And so a few days after nominations morning, I was scratching my head like, Brian, why'd you go with Jamie Lee? Why did you go with Jamie Lee Curtis over Monica Barbaro? So I thought it was time to make this video. Like, how did Monica Barbaro do it? How did she pull it off? I think there are 5 main reasons she got that Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Let's break it all down, and let's start with number 1, that SAG nomination. So I do think getting in at SAG and Best Supporting Actress, that was critical for Monica Barbaro. She could have gotten the Oscar nomination without any major precursors, like it was possible. It does happen occasionally, like Andrea Riseborough getting in for To Leslie. Like, that came out of frickin' nowhere. Well, kind of nowhere. I think some of us were a little bit prepared because of all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans that were going on in the weeks leading up to Oscar nominations morning 2 years ago. But I do think if Monica Barbaro had not scored that SAG nomination, the Oscar nomination would not have happened. I very much believe that. I think getting in at SAG, it showed all of us, oh, she might have more strength here than we originally thought. Because here's the deal. I saw A Complete Unknown after I took a family trip. I saw it like a couple weeks after it came out. And I had been hearing all of these great things about Timothée Chalamet and Edward Norton. And the movie had scored a bunch of Golden Globe and Critics' Choice nominations. And so I went into that movie, prepared to really, really love those 2 performances and maybe not so much some others. But I walked out of A Complete Unknown loving, like totally loving, that Monica Barbaro performance as Joan Baez. Like, she stood out big time in that movie. And I walked out kind of confused, like, really? She didn't get in at Critics' Choice or Golden Globes? I feel like that's a really standout supporting actress performance this year. So that's too bad, Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe she'll just be forgotten. Maybe she's not a big enough name or something. I don't know. But I was really taken with her in that movie, and I hoped she would get in somewhere. I was like, even if she got a surprise like SAG nomination, BAFTA nomination, like that would be really cool. And then the SAG nomination happened. We got 2 surprises that morning, remember, back to back. In Best Supporting Actress, we had Monica Barbaro first, and then we had Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl. And I was like, what is happening right now? I don't think too many people thought both Barbaro and Curtis were going to get in at SAG. So I was feeling pretty good after that, just how well A Complete Unknown did at SAG. I thought, this movie is building in strength, and supporting actress has been all over the place. Why not Monica Barbaro? And as it turned out, that SAG nomination was crucial, and that very much helped her get the Oscar nomination. Number 2 is the overperformance of A Complete Unknown this season. Like, it did fairly well at Critics' Choice and Golden Globes. I wouldn't say it was like, the movie to beat, in picture, director, actor, and stuff. Like, it did as well as we thought it would. You know, those 2 ceremonies, we get the nominations in December. So, like, you know, going into January, I was like, well, maybe A Complete Unknown can get that Best Picture nomination at the Oscars. But, like, it's probably not getting into director. Like, adapted screenplay is a maybe. I feel like the one big play for that film is going to be Timothée Chalamet in Best Actor. And so, like, Edward Norton coming along for the ride made sense because he's beloved. He's been nominated for tons of things going back decades. You know, it's kind of a transformative performance for him, playing a real-life person. Same thing with Chalamet. So those 2 made sense to me. But then we got to the SAG nominations, where A Complete Unknown just completely overperformed. Not only got into Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor, it got into Best Cast. Like, A Complete Unknown, making it there was huge. And then, of course, Barbaro scoring that SAG nomination. It just seemed with the SAG nominations, A Complete Unknown was building in strength. And then when James Mangold got that DGA nomination, I went, oh, whoa, like, okay, maybe this movie is going to do very well on Oscar nominations morning. Maybe it can get into a couple places we're not really expecting. But yeah, I think like A Complete Unknown coming out Christmas Day, it hadn't been seen probably by enough people to really score huge at the Golden Globes and a Critics' Choice, but that movie did extremely well at the box office over the holidays. People were catching up with it in early January, and people were recognizing just how great that Monica Barbaro performance was. So I do think the timing of A Complete Unknown, like soaring in early January, really did help Monica Barbaro's momentum, first getting in at SAG and then getting the Oscar nomination. If A Complete Unknown had missed in picture, had missed in director, I don't think Barbaro gets in. I do think in some ways, even though I do love her performance, she's actually my favorite performance in that movie, like over Chalamet and over Norton. I do think in a way she rode the coattails of that film's surging popularity and overperformance at the Academy Awards to get that nomination. I do think that helped her big time. If the movie had just done okay, it didn't get in everywhere we thought, I don't think Barbaro comes along for the ride. I do think the overperformance of that movie got her in. Number 3 is playing a real life person, right? Like playing a real life figure, a famous musician, Joan Baez, and doing such a great job at it. She really disappears into the role. You believe you are watching Joan Baez. I think that helps too. I think if she was playing a fictionalized character in that movie, I don't think she gets the Oscar nomination. Academy members especially love when actors play a real-life person. Often those kinds of performances win Oscars, and they often get nominated all the time. We see it all over the place this year, especially for A Complete Unknown. That helps. Like if you're on the bubble, if there's like 3 or 4 people kind of battling it out for, let's say, the 5th place slot in Best Supporting Actress, they're gonna go with the person who's playing someone who actually exists. Because I do feel like for some voters, they can kind of qualify that. They can kind of see, okay, how is this person doing playing someone who's actually alive, someone who exists? Like they can kind of compare the performance to the real person. And sometimes that does make it easier when it comes to voting for who gets nominated, for who wins. I do think that's why so many actors throughout the years and decades have won Academy Awards for playing real life people. I mean, just look going back the last decade. I mean, there's a lot of examples, right? Like there are a lot of examples. It's why I'm still not fully convinced Adrien Brody is going to win the Oscar over Timothée Chalamet, because Chalamet is playing Bob Dylan in that movie. And I'm like, he might win at SAG. I would go as far as to say Chalamet is probably going to win at SAG. And so I feel like there's a narrative there for him. I mean, there's kind of a narrative for Edward Norton. Like, he's never won an Oscar before. He's playing a real life person in A Complete Unknown. And then you have Monica Barbaro playing a very famous figure, Joan Baez, who dated Bob Dylan and like is such an incredible singer. Her career is legendary. And for Monica Barbaro to step in there and do such an excellent job, like resemble the person physically in a way, but also embody her heart, embody like the person she was emotionally at that time. It's such a fantastic performance. And so I do think the real life of it all absolutely helped Barbaro get in at the Oscars. Number 4, I would say, is that Monica Barbaro has the deeper, more emotional supporting actress performance in A Complete Unknown than Elle Fanning. For a brief moment there, we thought like maybe Elle Fanning could be a thing at the Oscars for A Complete Unknown. She's a great actress. She has been doing tremendous work for years, and she has like an Emmy nomination for The Greats, but she's never really gotten her flowers as an actress in film. And when she won the National Board of Review Award for Best Supporting Actress for A Complete Unknown, I went, oh, okay. I had been hearing rumblings about Monica Barbaro being really good in the movie as Joan Baez, but when Elle Fanning won that, I said, okay, if there is going to be a supporting actress play for that movie, maybe it's Elle Fanning. Like, she's better known, I would say, than Monica Barbaro. I mean, Elle Fanning has been around for many, many years in film and TV. I mean, she's in Somewhere by Sofia Coppola. She's in Super 8. Maleficent, The Neon Demon, The Beguiled. I mean, almost every year she's in a good film, a movie that goes somewhere. Part of me was like, if somebody from that movie can get into supporting actress, it's probably Elle Fanning over Monica Barbaro, because Fanning has had a little bit more of a substantial career. I mean, Monica Barbaro, she's got a lot of credits going back the last few years, but basically her 2 big projects of the last 3 years is Top Gun Maverick, which she's not in very much of. I mean, it's not like a substantial character in that. But like, she was in a big film of 2022 that got a Best Picture Oscar nomination, so that was something. And then she was the female lead of the Netflix series Fubar, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's pretty much it. Like, if you look at Monica Barbaro's IMDb, her filmography, like, there's not a lot. So it's not like she's overdue or something for an Oscar nomination. I would say of the 2, Elle Fanning makes more sense to, like, slip in there and get the Oscar nomination over Barbaro. But I think it comes down to, like, the complexity of the 2 characters in A Complete Unknown. There's a lot of scenes of Fanning, just looking sad, watching Joan Baez and Bob Dylan perform on the stage, and lots of close-ups of her face, like, oh no, like, there's a lot of that. She's got a couple good moments in that movie, but I didn't walk away from A Complete Unknown, like, singing the praises of Elle Fanning. She's fine in it. That moment of her talking to Dylan through, like, the wire fence, like, that scene's pretty good, but I think it's too quiet of a performance. She doesn't sing. Monica Barbaro sings a lot. She performs in a variety of moments in that movie. I think that helps. I think the arc of her character, the arc of Joan Baez in A Complete Unknown, is much more interesting, like on a narrative level. After I saw the movie, I thought, okay, if one person from this can get the supporting actress nomination, it's going to be Barbaro. Like, that just made immediate sense to me after I watched it. And so when Barbaro got in at SAG, I thought, okay, that's really cool. That's a great nomination for that movie. But, part of me thought maybe it's just going to be like Jonathan Bailey getting into supporting actor for Wicked at SAG. Maybe this will just be a SAG thing, and she won't quite make it at the Oscars. But she did, and I do think part of it was the Elle Fanning possibility slowly fading after she won Best Supporting Actress at National Board of Review, and enough people deciding, no, it's Barbaro. Barbaro's performance in this movie deserves that Academy Award recognition. And finally, reason number 5 is the chaos that was Best Supporting Actress this season. In terms of getting nominations, when you looked at one ceremony to the next, there was always a surprise or two. This was not a category this year where we had the same 5 or 6 names from one ceremony to the next. Every new list of nominations had some changes, right? Had some additions in Best Supporting Actress. I remember at Critics' Choice when Danielle Deadwyler got in and Anjanou Ellis-Taylor. Like, that was kind of surprising. Felicity Jones did not make it in at Critics' Choice, but she got in at Golden Globes. That was really weird. And then at SAG, we had Barbaro, we had Jamie Lee Curtis, and then at BAFTA, Barbaro did not make it, but Jamie Lee Curtis did. Jamie Lee Curtis got the BAFTA nomination. Pamela Anderson did not get into lead actress for The Last Showgirl, but I thought, oh, okay, Jamie Lee Curtis, I think she's going to have enough strength. I mean, at this late stage of the game, if she could secure both SAG and BAFTA, and with her Oscar win just 2 years ago, and her performance in The Last Showgirl is very flashy and memorable, I was like, I think even if that movie gets nominated nowhere else on Oscar nominations morning, it's probably going to be Curtis over Barbaro. If Monica Barbaro had gotten in at BAFTA, even with Jamie Lee Curtis, I would have gone with Barbaro at the Oscars because Barbaro had the stronger movie. The film that's getting into picture, director, all of these other categories, The Last Showgirl was not strong at all. And with that film's distributor being roadside attractions, I was like, you know, I mean, especially now looking back, I should have stuck with Barbaro. I don't really know why I switched to Curtis other than her getting in a BAFTA. I just thought, I mean, that's kind of why I ultimately decided not to predict Daniel Craig for Queer, even though he got in at the Globes, at Critics' Choice, at SAG. Because Craig did not get in at BAFTA and Sebastian Stan did, I thought, man, if Stan could get in at BAFTA, I feel like he's going to get the Oscar nomination over Craig. And that happened. So it was the BAFTA of it all with Jamie Lee Curtis, where I said, you know, this season is chaotic enough and she's got a lot of friends in the industry. People love her. I think she can get in over a Monica Barbaro, you know, who got the SAG nomination. How many people know who Monica Barbaro is? Like, I don't know. I was just like, you know, Curtis just makes a little bit more sense to me. It was like 48-52, but I went with Curtis. No, it was Barbaro. And here's why, I think. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, the movie just wasn't strong enough. Not enough people were watching it, even though she did get in at BAFTA. I think when it came to Oscar nominations, more Academy members were watching and loving A Complete Unknown. Whereas The Last Showgirl, it probably just didn't reach enough voters, you know? I think if the same amount of Academy voters watched both A Complete Unknown and The Last Showgirl, I do think Curtis maybe could have pulled off the Oscar nomination, but... And then there wasn't another person I felt super confident could score that 5th place slots. Like, there was Danielle Deadwyler, who got in at SAG, but the Piano Lesson by that time had already faded big time. You know, like, that movie just wasn't going anywhere. So I never really thought that Deadwyler could score the Oscar nomination. You had Margaret Qualley for The Substance, which I know some people were still predicting to get the Oscar nomination. I never really felt that, especially when she missed at both SAG and BAFTA. I really did feel like that movie and acting was going to be a huge play for Demi Moore, not necessarily Qualley. So her missing did not surprise me. You also had Selena Gomez, who some people, especially when she got in at BAFTA, some people thought maybe Selena Gomez gets the Oscar nomination too. And then Emilia Perez would have gotten 14 nominations, not 13. Emilia Perez would have gotten like the most nominations ever for a movie, tying just 3 other films, All About Eve, Titanic, and La La Land. So I think most of us are happy that didn't happen. Like, at least it didn't get 14. You know, there was Saoirse Ronan for Blitz, which for a while I thought could happen, and then that movie just tanked and didn't go anywhere. Anjanou Ellis-Taylor got the Critics' Choice nomination for Nickel Boys. Like, maybe she had a little bit more strength than many of us think, but that just didn't seem like a possibility. So at the end of the day, when I was doing my very final Oscar nomination predictions, I really did feel like that 5th place for supporting actress, it's going to Curtis or Barbaro. I wasn't really entertaining anyone else at that point. And again, it was close, but I thought, I think Curtis is more of an icon. She just won. Like, I think she can pull it off. And I am so happy to say here and now, weeks later, like weeks after the Oscar nominations came out, I'm so happy they went with Barbaro. Because ultimately, if I had to throw in one more reason, it's that she gives a phenomenal performance. It is one of the great performances I saw in 2024. I loved Monica Barbaro's work in A Complete Unknown. Again, I think that's the best performance in the movie. If I had to nominate one person, like, it would be her. She has so much presence as an actress. I mean, every scene of hers in A Complete Unknown, you cannot look away. She gets to sing. She gets to have quiet, intimate moments with Bob Dylan. She gets to have these really effective emotional beats throughout the movie. When she's not in it, you kind of miss her. So yeah, I think it's a great performance, an inspired Oscar nomination for Monica Barbaro. I love that picture that was taken of her soon after she got the Oscar nomination. I mean, I feel like of the 20 actors nominated at the 97th Academy Awards, the person this nomination is going to help the most is Monica Barbaro moving forward. I think her getting into supporting actress at the Oscars is going to mean great things for her career in the years to come. I can't wait to see what she does next, and I can't wait to watch A Complete Unknown again and fall under the spell of this most talented actress. I might not have predicted Monica Barbaro to get that Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress, but I'm so happy I was wrong. I'm really, really happy because she deserved it. What a spectacular Oscar nomination this is for Monica Barbaro. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think of my reasons why Monica Barbaro got that semi-surprise Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination? Is there any reason I left out? We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.